Port of entry experience. What happens when you get to the airport in the United States as an international student arriving from any other country outside of the United States? I remember overthinking the whole process, and people actually make it really look scary than it may seem. In this video, I am going to walk you through what the whole process is like, what to follow and what not to follow when you get to the airport, and then the questions that you might be asked to answer at the port of entry in the United States when you arrive here as an international student. Now let's get into this video. Don't leave. Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in this video, as I said in the hook, we're going to talk about the port of entry experience, what happens when you arrive here as an international student. So now, you've heard stories. In the beginning, when you get to the airport or when you're on your way to this place, just normalize the fear. Okay, you've heard stories, you're worried, they'll ask difficult questions, they'll take you back to where you're coming from. Trust me, don't worry, it's not anything to be scared of. Most of the time, they'll be very straightforward with you. When you get there, they're going to ask you, some one or two questions. When I got to the port of entry, one of the questions or two, they actually asked me two questions. So first, they asked me to give them my I-20 plus my passport, and then they asked me where I was going to, and then I told them I was coming to school, and then I mentioned the name of the school. And then the second thing they asked me was, am I holding more than $1,000 on me? And then I told them no, because apparently I wasn't. So yeah, just normalize the fear. The questions are super straightforward. Sometimes you might fidget here and there, but don't make it look so obvious that you're scared, because besides, you've arrived here anyway, so why should you be scared? Like, you're already in the United States. Yeah. Number 2, landing and following signs. So when you arrive in the United States and your flight lands, there are some signs that you follow when you enter the airport. Okay, so one of the signs that you would follow is the immigration and arrival sign that we're going to talk about in this video. So when you follow this section, if you get missing, there are people around at the airport that are there to help you. They are TSA people. They wear the blue shirt. Mostly they are wearing blue shirts and then black trousers. They can help you out. So they will direct you to the immigration and arrival section where you go for your questions to be asked. There'll be 2 lines, one for non-US citizens, that's the one that you join, and then you go directly to the immigration officer that is going to ask you questions. Mostly, as I said, they're going to ask you like a couple of questions. It's not even going to take up to 2 minutes, and then you answer the questions and then you move forward. The questions needs to be asked because you're going to put a stamp in your passport. Or sometimes they don't even put the stamp in your passport. They're just going to document that you've arrived in the United States and they've seen you and they've documented you, and then you've been allowed to pass through. So when you get, that needs to be done in the sense that when you get to your school or whatever you're coming to do in the United States, there's something called an I-94 that you need in the future to use it for other documentation processes. That I-94 states the day that you arrived in the United States. So yes, you need to join this queue and you need to see these immigration people to answer these questions and to be documented that yes, you've entered the United States. Number 3, now let's get to some common questions that these custom border protection officers ask you, or immigration officers ask you when you get to this immigration border control. So some of the questions include, what school are you going to? Where are you coming from? What are you coming to do in the United States? Are you carrying any drugs on you or weapons on you? Those are like some simple questions that they'll answer, and then it just needs straightforward answers, just like how you did your visa interview in your home country. Okay, and they're just going to look at your I-20 and then your passport. You're going to scan your passport, and then which is going to signify USCIS and then your school that you've arrived in the United States. Also, keep your answers simple and clear when you're talking to these immigration officers, because the line is really, really long and everybody is tired from traveling for long hours to enter or to arrive in the United States. So be simple, straightforward. Do not over explain yourself or do not contradict yourself. There's also a secondary inspection that sometimes these immigration officers do. Okay, whenever this happens to you, do not be scared. You're probably going to be taken to a separate room where they're going to ask you extra questions, go through your bags, or all of those things. Whenever that happens, that doesn't mean that you've done anything weird. Sometimes maybe they scanned your passport, they didn't get the information they were looking for, so they need more information, and the more they keep you in the queue, it delays the other people that are behind you, and the queue keeps getting longer and longer because other flights would keep arriving at the airport. So it's best that they send you to a different room and then question you from there. And then mostly the questions are like, what other things did you carry on you? Do you have anything illegal in your bags and all of that? They are probably going to go through your bags. They're going to see some foods that maybe you're bringing from your African country or something like that. That to them looks weird, and they're probably going to seize the food. If they're going to seize the food and that is going to set you free, please let them seize the food so that they will set you free within at least tops 5 to 10 minutes. Because of yam or something, don't go and delay yourself and stay in that room and miss your connecting flight or something else. So whenever you're sent to a different room to do this secondary inspection, do not be scared. It's really, really simple and straightforward. So the last but not the least, baggage claim. So after you have been set free by these immigration officers to move on, you go to baggage claim, you get your bag, you double check that after they went through your stuff, if you did the secondary inspection, everything is intact, you have all your documents and everything set. Then you now pack all your things, leave their office, go to baggage claim, get your bags and everything, and double check that all your documents are on you, and then you leave the airport. One thing that I forgot to mention is that if you're traveling from Ghana to this place, I don't know about other countries, so I'm going to leave a chip in for the Ghanaian students that are coming to the United States. If you're traveling with any other airline aside United Airline and Delta Airline, obviously you're going to go through other countries before you get to the United States. If you're coming with Delta Airline, their main base is New York, JFK or LaGuardia. So both of the airports are in New York, so they are obviously going to land there. And then if your school is not in New York City, you're obviously going to go with a connecting flight to your destination. So sometimes you go to baggage claim, you need to confirm that with the airline that you're flying with, that are your bags going to go directly to your final destination, or they're going to go to your first stop and then you have to pick the bags and check them in. Please do confirm that one with the airline that you're flying with. So for example, if you're coming with Delta Airline and then you're coming to Maine, they're going to stop at New York first. So if they're stopping at New York, before you even leave Ghana and you check your bags in, ask them that are they going to send your bags, or are your bags going to be released at the final destination or at your first stop. If it's at the first stop, you're going to go to baggage claim, get your bags and recheck your bags in so that your bags go to the connecting flight and then you can get your bags at the final destination. If you do not do this, your bags might end up getting missing. Secondly, if you're going with United Airlines main base is in Washington, Virginia. So they're going to stop in Virginia first, and then if your school is not in Washington, you're going to probably board a second flight to your final destination. And so with United Airlines, you're also going to ask them, are your bags going to be dropped off at your first location or your final location? If it's the first location, you probably would have to go reclaim your bags and then check your bags again, and then it will get to your final destination. Please do well to ask all of these questions when your bags are being checked in your country before you even go to the boarding gates to board your flight. one personal experience that I will leave with you guys is that when my mother was coming to visit me in the United States, we really had to do this routine check because it was her first time traveling outside the country. So when she got to the United States, we were confused about, you know, the bags and all of that. But now they have this tracking system where you can use to track your bags and know where your bags would be at in the airport. Either is going to be dropped off at your first location or your final location. Luckily, we had that liberty to be able to track the bags. Some people use air tags and all of that. So please do well to make sure that you know where your bags are going to go to, else you might end up at your final destination with no clothes or luggage or anything. This brings me to the end of my video. I'm glad that you stayed with me to the end of the video. All the OGs that are still on my channel, I want to say thank you so much for sticking and staying with me. My name is Emmanuel Riafit. The new subscribers and the new people that have joined my channel too, I am really grateful to you guys. Thank you once again. This is where the video comes to an end. Bye bye. I'll see you in the next video.